Welcome back to The Talk. Now, tributes have been pouring in today for the king of the chat show, Sir Michael Parkinson, who has sadly passed away last night at the age of 88 following a brief illness. His incredible career spanned over 7 decades and he became one of British TV's most famous faces through his talk show, Parkinson. Over more than 800 episodes, Parkinson interviewed the world's biggest stars, including Sir Elton John, Madonna, Muhammad Ali and Dame Helen Mirren.
Let's now try and conduct a conversation. So.
We talk all the time.
We do. No, I'm an audience, Billy. That's what I am.
I'm not going to argue with you.
You're not as dumb as you look.
You'll find that your figure, your physical attributes, which people always go on about, hinder you in your pursuit of the ambition of being a successful actress.
A successful and serious
actress.
actress, because serious actresses can't have big bosoms.
Oh, what's Matilda?
What's this? What's this? What's this?
I don't have to kiss you, do I, darling?
No, you don't. No, you really
think
don't.
you should.
You'll be quiet, you are. You'll be quiet, you are.
Well, I wouldn't know what to look like.
In other words, if you were me, what would you do now?
Well, just wrap it up.
Goodness me, that brings back so many memories of Saturday night sat with my mum and dad. And beyond, like, so many people have said to me today, oh, you mustn't have remembered Parkinson, you're a bit too young. And I'm like, no, I wasn't. But he spanned so many different generations. But it really harks back to that time where TV was a lot simpler. Granted, there were only like 3 channels, but TV was simpler. You could sit down and watch a long-form interview where somebody really took the time to get to know their guests. And he famously made the interview not about him, which can often be the case nowadays in certain chat shows, but it was all about the person sat opposite him.
Also, I talked to Ali Ross, the Sun's TV critic today, and he said it was also, much of it was before the advent of the kind of PR and the very much controlled interview and what you can't ask. And what there was none of that. And there was none of that. And I talked to Terry Wogan's son today as well, who said one of the most bizarre things that actually ended up happening was that Parkinson, Terry Wogan, Diana Dawes and a whole bunch of other people all ended up living in the same street. In a place called Bray, and literally you'd walk out the door and there'd be, oh, there's Michael Parkinson over there. You know, they all knew each other, they were all mates.
And it's funny because I was listening to Mike talk to him, so I googled this street because he named the street. You've never seen houses so big in your life. Like, it was
but
unbelievable.
they lived in the same street.
But as you rightly said, Nicola, it was, you know, different ages, but still Parkinson was around. And I can remember Saturday nights being a bit of Doctor Who generation, James Starsky and Hutch. Parkinson, Match of the Day, and all the rest of it.
And everybody watched television.
And when I was a real little kid, my mum and dad used to watch it, and I thought, well, this is probably quite, you know, who is this bloke talking? But as I got a bit older, I suddenly realised, I thought, this man has the best job in the world.
But I
this
miss
is unbelievable.
I miss that
and people
mastery.
used to travel. You know, artists would travel. They'd fly across the world to be interviewed. And this is the bit, you just touched it. They weren't necessarily plugging a film.
But you see, I miss that mastery. I miss the in-depth nature of the interviews, the way that he sort of navigated the subjects. And as you've said, you know, very often interviews today are more about the interviewer and being funny, and it's all got to be hilarious, laugh, 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 and then move on, next person on the sofa. And it's just like, ugh, too much. I really want to have that in-depth, and it's a shame that there isn't that long form. He was the master at it.
And do you know what?
And those will sit in history as almost the definitive
when you look at the names as well. This guy interviewed John Wayne, for God's sake. Orson Welles. You know, people like
and people would smoke.
Everybody.
And they'd smoke, wouldn't they, on set? People would actually
and
they'd have a cig on the go.
Also worth pointing out as well, that clip with Helen Mirren, it hasn't aged very well, and he did get a lot of criticism for that about 5-6 years ago. But he did actually apologise for it and said, look, I think it very much was of its time, and if I was to conduct that interview again, I wouldn't have done that in that way, which I thought was a really classy way of him.
A lot of people thought he really handled that quite badly.
Yes.
Other people sort of took his side against her. It was maybe the beginning of the polarisation of opinion.
Sure.
You know? I actually thought he came across as a bit of an old sexist. To Meg Ryan.
He
did. It seemed a bit weird, you know.
He did, but at least he had the class to admit when he was wrong. Right, well, now it is time for small talk.
Ready?